one of the four ancient civilizations recorded in history, dates back to the Zhang Dynasty in 1600 to 1046 BC, over 3,000 years ago. The prehistoric of China, up to about 1600 BC. Prehistoric China's chronology. Prehistoric China's chronology is divided into Paleolithic Age, Neolithic Age, and the Bronze Age. Without any reliable records, most of what has been pieced together about the prehistoric life of China comes from the speculations of human activities at archaeological sites and unearthed relics. The rest comes from what may be roots within Chinese methodology.
Dynasty. The Zhang Dynasty holds a significant place in China's history as a legendary first dynasty in ancient China, marking the beginning of recorded Chinese civilization. While its exact dates and details are debated among historians, the Zhang Dynasty is traditionally believed to have ruled from around 270 BCE to 1600 BCE. According to ancient texts and legends, the Zhang Dynasty was founded by Emperor Yu the Great, who was revered for his ability to construct floods and bring agricultural prosperity. Dynasty is associated with important development and governance, such as the establishment of hereditary monarchy and introductions of bureaucrats. During the Shang Dynasty, many achievements were made. People lived mainly through agriculture, using tools made of stone or bone. The jade ware at that time was quite delicate, and bronze vessels were well smelted. Craftworks made of bronze embedded with jade also occurred. Community exchange developed. A calendar system was devised which used both lunar and solar movement. During the Shang Dynasty, they also create social structures and pottery making. The Shang Dynasty also witnessed the emergence of early Chinese writing system. The history of Shang Dynasty. The Zhang Dynasty in 16,000 to 1046 BC. The Zhang Dynasty is the earliest ruling dynasty of China to establish in records history. They are also known for their advancement in math, astronomy, artwork, and military technology. The Henan province, the capital city of Zhang Dynasty, was located in the southern part of Anyang City. The political and social structures of the Zhang Dynasty was mainly composed of the monarch, aristocrat, and farmers. The mainstay of the Zhang Dynasty's economy was agricultural, with crops such as wheat, rice, beans, and cotton being the main planting subject. The Zhang Dynasty also developed bronze smelting and casting technology. The culture's heritage of Zhang Dynasty was also very rich and colorful. The Zhang Dynasty's writing system is one of the earliest in China, now known as Oracle Bone Script. The Zhang Dynasty also witnessed the emergence of self-weaving technology, which could produce high-quality silk products.
The Zhou Dynasty, 1045 to 221 BC. After the Zhang era, the larger Zhou era territory was divided by a network of feudal states and was led over by kings. Pagkatapos ng panahon ng dinastiya ng Zhang, ang mas malaking teritoryo ng panahon ng Zhou ay hinati ng isang network ng mga feudal na at estado at pinamumunuan ng mga hari. At ang dinastiyang Zhou, sila yung may pinakamahabang pamumuno sa lahat ng dinastiya ng mga Chino. The king of Zhou only had direct control over a small portion of the realm and received tributes from the feudal states. Ang hari ay may direktang kontrol lamang sa isang maliit na bahagi ng kaharian at tumanggap ng mga parangal mula sa feudal na estado. So kahit maliit lang yung na-control ng hari sa bahagi ng kaharian, siya pa rin ay tumanggap ng mga parangal mula sa feudal na estado na si King Wuwang. Si King Wuwang nagbigay katwiran sa kanyang pamumuno bilang paspas ng langit or mandate of heaven. The first part of the Zhou was called the Western Zhou. Ang unang bahagi ng panahon ng Zhou ay tinatawag na Kanloran Zhou. Ito ay isang medyo mapayapang panahon. Pero pagkatapos ng 770 BC, ang King Zhou ay nawala ng kanyang otoridad at pitong kilalang estado ang lumitaw. So pagkatapos mawala ng otoridad ang king at lumabas yung pitong estado na biglang lumitaw, ang panahon ng Zhou ay nahati sa tatlo. Ang una dito ay the Western Zhou Dynasty, 1045 to 771 BC. Ang pangalawa ay panahon ng Spring at Autumn, 476 BC. At ang pangatlo ang Warring States Period, 475 to 221 BC. Nagmarka ito ng transition mula sa lipunang feudal at lumitaw ang mga pangunahing filosofiya at relihiyon na naging katayan ng mga paniniwala ng Chino sa mga huling panahon, tulad ng Confucianism at Taoism. So, doon nagsimula yung iba't ibang pananaw ng mga Chino. Noong panahon pa ng mga Zhou ay gumawa sila ng mga kabuluhan tulad ng kontribusasyon, pangkultura, sa agrikultura, edukasyon, organisasyon, militar, politikan Chino, musika, filosofikal na paraan ng pag-iisip, at stratifikasyon sa lipunan, gayon din sa mga pagbabago sa politika at relihiyon. Imperial China, 221 BC, 1912 AD or after the birth of Christ. The Imperial China period looks at the birth of Chinese history. Ang panahon ng Imperial China ay bumuo sa punto ng kasaysayan ng China sa paikot na pagtag at pagpagsak ng mga dinastiya. Ang sibilisasyon ng Chino ay nilinang at umunlad sa panahon ng kapayapaan pagkatapos sa mga paghihimarsik at pananakot ng mga dinastiya.
The Qing and Han Dynasty. The Qing and Han Dynasty were the initial period of the Chinese Empire. During this period, a number of institutions were established that laid the foundation of basic political system for the next 2,000 years. Ang Qing at ang Dynasty ang unang panahon ng mga imperyong Chino. At isa rin sila sa mga bilang ng institusyon na itinatag at inilatag ang pundasyon ng pangunahing sistemang pampolitika para sa susunod na 1,000 years. The Qing Dynasty, 221 to 206 BC. Yan naman ang Qing Dynasty na unang dinastiya sa China na tumagal ito ng 221 hanggang 206 BC. At tinawag rin itong modernong Gansu of Changshi. The first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, was the first to use the title of emperor in China. Ang unang emperador na si Qin Shi Huang ang unang gumamit ng pamagat ng emperador sa China. The King Shi Huang centralized the power of the empire after he took the throne and set up a system of laws. He standardized units of width and measurements as well as the writing system. Si Qin Shi Huang ay nagsentralisa sa kapangyarihan ng imperyo pagkatapos niyang kunin ang trono at nag-set up siya ng isang sistema ng mga laws. At si Huang din ang unang emperador ng Qin. At sa lakas ng Qin dynasty ay napatalsik nila ang Zhou. At nasakop din ang iba pang 6 na 7 warring states. Yan yung Chu, Han, Wei, Yan, Qi, and Shu. The Qin dynasty was the first and shortest imperial dynasty in China. It was famous for great building projects such as the Great Wall and Terracotta Army. Ang dinastiyang Qin ang una at pinakamaikling imperial na dinastiya sa China. Ito ay sikat sa mga dakilang proyekto sa pagtatayo ng Great Wall at ang Terracotta Army. Ang Great Wall of China ay ang hanay ng mga mug na gawa sa mga bato, laryo, lupa, kahoy at iba pang mga materialis upang karaniwang itayo ang silangan hanggang China upang maprotektahan ang imperyong Chino sa mga nomads o mga grupo ng mga militar. At ang Terracotta Army naman ang ang nagsisilbi o nagsilbi pa rin ng mga guardian sa libing ng unang emperador ng China. Na si Qin Shi Huangdi naman ang namumuhay si Qin Shi Huangdi ang siyang namumuhay ng mga 2,200 sa mga nakaraang taon. Siya ang naging sikat dahil sa pag-iisa ng mga naglalabang estado na ngayon ay tinawag na China. At para din nalimutan dahil sa matindi niyang pakikipagsapalaran para sa mga lihim ng immortalidad.
The Han Dynasty 206 BC 228. The longest imperial dynasty, starting the Silk Road and trade connecting China with Central Asia and Europe. The bureaucratic system in which promotion was based on adopted by state for national governance, which was agriculture, handicrafts, and commerce developed rapidly. During the reign of Emperor Wuyi, 140-87 BC, the Han regime prospered most. The multi country became more united during the Han regime. It is the one of the most powerful and important dynasties in China history. China's Dark Ages 225 AD. Three Kingdoms period 220-265. After the Three Kingdoms period came the Qin dynasty, which then conquered most of China 265-420. Its hold on a power was tenuous however. During the Meiji time, many religions emerged and Buddhism was popular among the barbarian kingdoms in North China. 400 years, the chaos ended. Sa panahong magulo, maraming relihiyon at umusubong ang Budismo ay tanyag sa kaharian ng barbar. Sa North China, matapos ang halos 400 years taon ng kaguluhan, ang Sui dynasty sa huli ay pinag-isa muli ang China noong 581 AD.
China Middle Age shows that growth through a series of regime change. The Grand Canal is representing China Hub's civil engineering feat is another feature of China history. Ang Grand Canal daw ay kumakatawan sa isang malaking civil engineering feats ng China at kasaysayan ng China. China went from having 4 warring kingdoms to being the most culturally sophisticated and technologically developed nation. Ang China ay nagmula sa pagkakaroon ng 4 na paglalaban ng kaharian tungo sa pagiging pinaka-suspektadong kultura at teknikal na unlad sa bansa. Finally, it was assumed by the rise of the phenomenal Mongol Empire, which stretched the Europe. Sa wakas, ito ay natampok ng pagtaas ng puno ng kahangahangang imperyo ng Mongolia na umabot daw sa Europa. The Suri dynasty in 581, Yang Jian assured the throne in the north, and as imperial Yuan united the rest of China under the Sui dynasty. It was a short, intense dynasty with great consensus and achievement, such as the Grand Canal and the rebuilding of the Great Wall. Most of these dynasty government institutions were adopted by later dynasties. It considered, along with the following Tang Dynasty, to be a great Chinese era.
The Tang Dynasty 618 to 907. After the short-lived Sui Dynasty, Tang Dynasty was the most stunning historic period in Chinese history, founded in 618 to 907. The Tang Dynasty emperors were some of the most powerful and influential in Chinese history. Taizong, the most martial sage. Wu Zetian, the only female emperor in the Chinese history. The Tang Dynasty was the time of the great culture, politics, economics, and military expansion for the China. Golden age for the poetry, painting, tree-colored glazed poetry, and the wood-block painting. After the Tang Dynasty came half of the century division in the 5 Dynasty and the 10 Kingdom period 907 to 960. This ended when one of the Northern Kingdom divided and the never and the establishment of the Song Dynasty. The Song Dynasty 960 to 1279 come after the Tang Dynasty 618 to 907, and together they are known as a Chinese Golden Age. During the Song Dynasty, paper money was invented. Tie and gunpowder, compass, and printing were all invented. While later Liang was culturally the most brilliant era in Chinese history, a time of the great social and economic change. The Liao Dynasty 907-1125. Khitan was occupied the modern-day northern Hebei province and was under control of the Liao Dynasty, Liao. And the Western Xia Dynasty 1038 and 1227. Ruled by the Tangut, controlled in the modern day of Gansu and the northwestern China Sea. The Joseon established the Jin Dynasty at the Yellow River Basin until it was conquered by the Mongol in 1270.
Our topic for today is all about the Yuan Dynasty. Okay, the Yuan Dynasty. Ang Yuan Dynasty ay tinatawag ito sa wikang Chinese na ang meaning sa atin ay ang unang panimula. Base sa ating Tagalog ay ang unang panimula. Okay. Ying has changed China's history by bringing the nation under foreign Mongol rule. Okay. Genghis Khan. Bago natin itakil ang isang paragraph na ito, kilalanin muna natin kung sino si Genghis Khan, na siya ang pumalit sa history ng China. Kasi pinalitan ni Genghis Khan ang history ng China. Okay. Si Genghis Khan ay siya yung tipong lalaki may katapangan at may puso at makisig sa pakikipaglaban o pakikipagdigmaan. At dahil sa kanyang katapangan at pakikipagdigmaan, tinagurian o tinawag siyang the universal leader ng mga Mongolia. Kasi nakatira ito sa Mongolia at tinawag siyang universal leader ng mga Mongolian. Okay. Si Genghis Khan ay pinalitan niya China's history by bringing the nation under foreign. Pinalitan ni Genghis Khan o si Tao Zeng, pinalitan niya ang history ng China sa pamamagitan ng Mongol rule. Ang mga rule ng mga Mongolia ang pinalit niya sa history ng China dahil sa kanilang pananakot na palitan ang history ng China. Okay. In the year 1206, Genghis Khan unified all the tribes and Mongolia founded the Mongol Khanate.
At the end of the 12th century, Mongolian ruled steadily with Genghis Khan and descendants expanding their territory. The Mongol Empire extended all the way to Eastern Europe. From 1271 to 1279, his grandson Kublai Khan finally conquered the Song dynasty and founded the Yuan dynasty. He made Daju, or modern-day Beijing, the capital of the first foreign-led dynasty in China. Trade, technological development, and China's introduction to foreign countries continued under Mongol rule. Marco Polo from Venice traveled extensively in China, and later described China's culture and marvels in his book Travels. In the Ming and Qing dynasty, the imperial social structures such as royal or rich class, the scholarly class, the working class, and the slaves. And now, let's talk about the Ming dynasty. The Ming dynasty was one of the greatest periods in China's long imperial history. The Ming dynasty restored rule from the Mongols and remained held power for over 250 years, from 1368 to 1644. During this period, China prospered economically and culturally, expanded trade with Europe, and interaction with other cultures. Zhu Yuanzhang was born a peasant in the 1330s during the chaotic late Yuan dynasty ruled by the Mongols. Zhu was joined the rebellion against the Mongols and gaining renown as a skilled military commander. Through alliances, conquests, and sheer tactical brilliance, Zhu united the rivals under his control and captured the Yuan capital of Nanjing in 1356. After the last Yuan emperor fled north in 1368, Nanjing became the capital of the new Ming dynasty, proclaimed by the victorious Zhu. During the Ming dynasty, apart from expanded culture, economic and trade, also arts, poetry, and novels like Romance of the Three Kingdoms flourished. After founding the Ming dynasty, Zhu Yuanzhang centralized all armed forces under his direct imperial command. Ming forces utilized advanced weaponry like early firearm prototypes and early cannon batteries. Cavalry wielded sabers, spikes, and curved bows that could pierce armor. Infantry used sword, paulines, crossbows, and shield in a balanced combined approach. Ming Dynasty military training focused on discipline and cohesion. A code of military justice punished deserters and traitors harshly to motivate troops. Through this discipline, the Ming became a dominant land in Asia and repelled threats like Mongol riders from the north. When his son and successor Zhu Di ascended the throne, he started to build the Forbidden City in Beijing. In 1421, he officially made Beijing his capital. It was an era of native Chinese strength and prosperity, which fluttered due to natural disasters and greedy leadership, as had so many dynasties before it. Eventually, the Ming Dynasty fell due to frequent peasant rebellions and Manchu's attacks. Qing Dynasty, 1644 to 1912. The Qing Dynasty, also called Manchu Dynasty or Pinyin Manzu Dynasty, the last of the imperial dynasties of China, spanning the year 1644 to 1912. The Qing Dynasty was first established in 1636 by the Manchus to designate the regime in Manchuria. In 1644, the Qing army attacked and occupied Beijing. The Ming Dynasty collapsed, and the Qing Dynasty unified the country under new rulers. Wang Taiji's son, Emperor Shunzi, became the first emperor of Qing Dynasty. The Qing Golden Age of prosperity was made up of the reign of three emperors. Emperor Kangxi reigned 1661 to 1722. The Qing Golden Age began. Emperor Yongzheng reigned 1723 to 1735. The Golden Age continued. Emperor Shanlong ruled 1735 to 1796. The Golden Age reached its peak. As the last dynasty of China, the Qing Dynasty gloried for a time in the prosperity of its Golden Age. But later, it had a history full of shame. Defeat in the Opium Wars, forced trade, unequal treaties, and general decline dominated the later Qing era. China began to become a semi-colonial and semi-imperial society after this Opium War, which began in 1839. Also, modern China's territory was established during this era. Tiananmen Square or Tiananmen Square is a city square in the city center of Beijing, China, named after the eponymous Tiananmen located to its north, which separates it from the Forbidden City. Tiananmen Square has witnessed many key events in China's history, in particular the founding of the People's Republic by Mao Zedong on October 1, 1949. The Republican Revolution of 1911, led by Sun Yat-sen, ended the rule of the Qing Dynasty. However, the Republic of China could not firmly establish across China, with civil war ensuing the decades. Since the founding of People's Republic of China in 1949, China has entered the communist era of stability, with the reform and opening up policy of bringing in China's phenomenal economic growth.
The Mongol Empire. During Europe's High Middle Age, the Mongol Empire, the largest contiguous land empire in the history, began to emerge. The Mongol Empire began in the Central Asia steppes and lasted throughout the 13th and the 14th century. At its greatest extent, it includes all of modern day Mongolia, China, part of Burma, Romania, Pakistan, Siberia, Ukraine, Belarus, Silesia, Anatolia, Georgia, Armenia, Persia, Iraq, Central Asia, and much all of the Russia. Many additional countries became tributary states of the Mongol Empire. Mayroong ilang mga inobasyon na naganap na nag-ambag sa tagumpay ng Mongol Empire. Ang mga pagbabagong ito ay nakikita sa iba't ibang aspeto ng lipunan, mga taktika ng militar at administrasyon. Ang ilan sa mga pangunahing inobasyon sa ilalim ni Genghis Khan ay ang kinakabilang ng Imperyo Mongol ay maiuugnay sa pamumuno ni Genghis Khan at sa kahusay militar ng mga Mongol. Narito ang isang buod na mga pangunahing salik na humantong sa pag-usbong ng imperyo. Una, pagpapalitan ng kultura. Pinadali ng Imperyo Mongol ang isang makabuluhang antas ng pagpapalitan ng kultura sa pagitan ng mga rehiyon. Ang imperyo ay sumasaklaw sa isang malawak na teritoryo na nag-uugnay sa magkakaibang rehiyon.
Genghis Khan ruled between 1206 and 1227, expanding trade across Asia into Eastern Europe. Enacting relatively tolerant social and religious laws and leading devastating military campaigns that left local populations depleted and fearful of the brutal Mongol forces. The first Khan in the Mongol Empire, si Genghis Khan daw, ay namuno sa pagitan ng 1206 at 1227. Pinalawak ang kalakalan sa buong Asya at sa silangang Europa, na nagpatupad na medyo mapagparaya ng mga batas, panlipunan at rehiyon, at pinamunuan ang mapangwasak na mga kampanyang militar na nag-iwan sa mga lokal na populasyon na naubos at natatakot sa brutal na pwersa ng Mongol. Ang unang Khan at ang Imperyong Mongol. Bago naging pinuno si Genghis Khan ay kilala siya bilang Temujin. Pinanganak siya noong 1162 sa modernong Hilagang Mongolia. As Temujin gained power, he forbade looting of his enemies with reformation, and he implemented a policy of sharing spoils with his warriors, their families, instead of giving it all to the aristocrats. His meritocratic policies tended to gain a broader range of followers compared to his rival brother. Jamuka, who also hoped to rule over greater swaths of Mongolian territory. Nang magkaroon ng kapangyarihan si Temujin, pinagbawal niya ang pagnakaw sa kanyang mga kaaway ng walang pahintulot at pinatupad niya ang isang patakaran ng pagbabahagi ng mga sam sa kanyang mga mandirigma at sa kanilang mga pamilya, sa halip na ibigay lahat na ito sa mga aristokrata. Ang kanyang mga mentokratikong patakaran ay may posibilidad na makakuha ng mas malawak na hanay ng mga tagasunod kumpara sa kanyang karibal na kapatid na si Jamuka, na umaasa ring mamuno na mas malawak na teritoryo ng Mongolia. Ang paghahati sa mga patakarang ito ay lumika ng salungatan sa kanyang mga tiyuhin at kapatid na mga lehitimong tagapagmana rin ng mga pagteli ng Mongol. Gayon din sa kanyang mga general. Nagsimula ang digmaan at nanaig si Temujin na winasak ang lahat ng natitirang karibal na tribo mula sa 1203, 1205 at dinala sila sa ilalim ng kanyang kapangyarihan noong 1206. Si Temujin ay kinoronahan bilang pinuno ng Great Mongol Nation. Noon niya kinuwang titulong Genghis Khan. Ibig sabihin ay pinuno universal na manikahan. Ang pagsisimula ng Imperyong Mongol, ang dakilang Khan.
Genghis Khan was able to grasp power over such varied population through body siege warfare and elaborate spy system, which allowed to him better understand his enemy. He also utilized a lenient policy toward the religious and local tradition, which convinced many people to follow his lead, with promises and amnesty and neurality. Genghis Khan, as portrayed in 14th century Yuan era album. He was the first leader of the United Mongols and first emperor under the Mongolian Empire. As ruled over a vast network of tribal groups, Genghis Khan innovated the way he ruled at Garn. Power of expanded in holdings. This innovation encouraged a relatively peaceful reign and helped to develop stable trading routes and alliance, making his rule as the one of the most successful political entities of the era. He also successful through technology, language, and goods farther west. Some of his major accomplishments include organizing his army by dividing a chemical subsection of 10,000 and 1,000 and 10,000 and discarded the lineage-based tribal bands that once dominated warfare. Founding the Imperial Guard and rewarding loyalty with high position as heads of army unit and household no matter the class of individual, proclaiming a new law of the empire called the Yasa, which outlawed the theft of property, fighting amongst population, and hunting animals during the breeding season, among many other things. Forbidding the selling of women, he also encouraged some women to discuss major public decisions. Unlike the leader of the region, Genghis allowed his wives and sit at the table, with the encouraged to voice their opinion, appointing his adopted brother as supreme judge, ordering him to keep detailed records of empire.
A short history of ancient Japan. About 8000 BC, the ancient Japanese learned to make pottery. The period from 8000 BC to 300 BC is called the Jomon. The word Jomon means cord mark because those people marked their pottery by wrapping a cord around it. The Jomon people live by hunting, fishing, and collecting shellfish. The Jomon made tools of stone, wood, and bone. They also made clay figurines of people and animals called dugu. Between 300 BC and 300 AD, a new era began in Japan. At that time, the Japanese learned to grow rice. They also learned to make tools and bronze and iron. The Japan also learned to weave cloth. This period is called Yayoi. It was named after a village called Yaoicho. Farming meant a more settled lifestyle. Yayoi people live in villages of wooden huts. Farming and other skills also meant society became divided into classes. The leaders of Yayoi society were burned and bombed away from the ordinary people's burial grounds. The Kofun period in Japan. The Yayoi period was followed by the Kofun from 300 AD to 710 AD. At this time, Japan gradually became united. The rich and powerful men of the era were born in tubs called kofun. Clay figures called haniwa were placed around the tubs to guard them. At that time, Japan was heavily influenced by China. About 400 AD, writing was introduced into Japan from China. Japanese also learned to make paper from the Chinese. They also learned to make porcelain, silk, and lacquer. The Japanese also learned the plan cities in the Chinese way. According to tradition, in 552 AD, the king of Picchi in Korea sent priests to convert Japan to Buddhism. The native Japanese religion is called Shinto, which means the way of the gods. Shinto teaches that spirits are present everywhere in nature. Every natural phenomenon, such as a mountain, lake, tree, waterfall, and even rock, has a spirit. Shinto does not have prophets or a sacred book, but its teachings were passed on in myths. Shinto was many ceremonies and festivals. The two religions, Buddhism and Shinto, coexist peacefully in Japan. Shinto is more concerned with this life, and its followers frequently pray for things they need or desire. Buddhism is more concerned with what happens after death. But most of the Japanese were happy to practice both religions. Furthermore, in the 7th century AD, the emperor became more powerful. Shotoku ruled as regent to Empress Shuiko. He was a patron of the arts and learning. He brought scholars from China and Korea to Japan, and he adopted the Chinese calendar. Shikoto also built the Horyuji Buddhist temple and monastery in 607. It burned down in 670, but it was rebuilt and became a center of Buddhist learning. Today, there are the world's oldest surviving wooden structures. After him, in 646, a series of reforms were made known as the Taika. From them on all, in land of Japan belonged to the emperor. By the late 7th century, Japan was a centralized and highly civilized kingdom. At that time, the capital of Japan was moved when an emperor died, as people believed it was unlucky to stay in the same place afterwards. However, following the Chinese custom, the Japanese decided to create a permanent capital. They built a city at Nara in 710. At that time, Japan was divided into province. In 713, the governor of each Japanese province was ordered to write a report about his province. The reports describe the products of each province as well as its plants, animal, and other resources. However, in the 8th century, Buddhist monks and priests began to interfere in politics. So in 784, Emperor Kamo on 737 to 806 decided to move his capital. Eventually, in 794, he moved to Heian-kyu, which meant capital of peace. Later, the city's name changed to Kyoto, and it remained the official capital of Japan till 1868.